stop. Just stop for a moment. Whatever you were doing, whatever tab you had open, whatever thought was running through your mind, let it go, right now. Because this message did not find you by accident. You didn't stumble here. You were directed here. There is a difference. And before this is over, you're going to understand exactly why. I am Archangel Michael, and I have been sent, not to comfort you with empty words, not to tell you everything is fine when it isn't, but to tell you the truth, the real truth, the kind that lands somewhere deep inside your chest and doesn't leave. So breathe. Breathe slowly, because what I am about to share with you is something heaven has been waiting to say to you for a very long time. There is something your mother never told you, something she couldn't tell you, because she didn't fully understand it herself. But I was there. On the day you were born, I was there. Before you took your first breath, before you made that first sound, before anyone in that room knew what to expect from you, God already knew. He already saw you. He already knew every road you would walk, every door you would knock on, every heart you would open yourself up to, every night you would cry alone wondering if anyone in the universe was actually listening. He already knew. And on that day, that very specific day when you came into this world, something was written, not on paper, not in a hospital record, but in the fabric of eternity. A purpose, a path, a divine assignment so specific to you that no one else on this earth could carry it. No one. But here's what your mother didn't tell you, because she didn't know how. There was a battle fought for you that day, before you even had a name. Forces that did not want you here, did not want this purpose activated, did not want this light turned on in the world. And I want you to know I fought for you. God fought for you. The angels fought for you. You made it here. You made it here against forces you will never fully see. And every single day since then, that same protection has never left you. Even when you felt completely alone. Even when the silence felt unbearable. Even on those nights when you weren't sure you could make it to morning. That protection was still there. It has always been there. Now, I need to talk to you about something that happened recently. Something that hurt you. A relationship. A connection you believed in. A person you gave yourself to. Fully. Honestly. Without holding back. Maybe it was romantic. Maybe it was a friendship. Maybe it was a family bond. But whatever it was, it ended. Or it's ending right now. And the way it ended didn't make sense to you. Did it? It felt sudden. Even if you saw signs. Even if something in your gut told you something was wrong. When it actually broke apart, it still felt like the floor gave out beneath you. Because you weren't just losing a person. You were losing a future you had already built in your mind. A version of your life you had gotten attached to. Plans, routines, a sense of where you were going. And when they left, or when you realized the truth about them, that entire future disappeared too. And that's a grief that most people don't talk about. The grief of losing a future that never even happened. But it was real to you. It was completely real. And in the days that followed, maybe even right now, you've been asking a question. A quiet question. One you haven't said out loud to many people. Maybe you haven't said it out loud at all. But I hear it. God hears it. And the question is this: what did I do wrong? I need you to listen to me very carefully right now. Are you listening? Not everything that falls apart is your fault. Not every ending is a punishment. Some endings are protection. Some doors closing behind you are God's hands moving in your life. Not against you. For you. And I know that doesn't make the pain smaller right now. I know that doesn't dry the tears on the pillow at 2 a.m. I know that, but I'm telling you the truth because you deserve the truth. And not just the comfortable version. Let me tell you what I've seen. In the months before this relationship fell apart. Or before this person showed you who they really were. Something in you already knew. Something small. Something quiet. A feeling that sat in the back of your spirit like a whisper you kept trying to ignore. You know what I'm talking about. Those moments where something they said felt slightly off but you explained it away. Those moments where you noticed something but told yourself you were being too sensitive. Those moments where your peace left the room the second they entered and you convinced yourself that you were the problem. You weren't. You were not the problem. You had a gift, a spiritual sensitivity, an inner knowing that God placed inside you precisely for moments like that. And instead of honoring it, you silenced it. Because you wanted the relationship to work. Because you were afraid. Because you had already invested so much. So much time. So much energy. So much of yourself. That leaving felt more terrifying than staying. And so you stayed. And you bent yourself. And you made yourself smaller. And you swallowed feelings that deserved to be spoken. And you apologized for things that were never your fault. And you tried harder. And you gave more. And you smiled through things that were breaking you on the inside. I see that. God sees that. And it wasn't weakness. Let me be very clear with you. It was love. It was a beautiful, selfless, generous love that was being poured into the wrong vessel. And heaven has been watching. And heaven has been in pain watching you diminish yourself for someone or something that was not designed to carry the gift that you are. There is something I need you to understand right now. Your love is not the problem. Your capacity to love, your willingness to stay, your loyalty, these are not your flaws. These are your greatest strengths. But they were being exploited. And God will not allow what He placed in you to continue to be used against you. Here is where I need to speak directly, and I need you to let these words land without deflecting them. That relationship, that person, that situation, was not sent from God. I want you to hear that. I want you to sit with that. Not everything that enters your life comes from a place of light. Some things, some people, enter specifically because there is something powerful in you that needs to be distracted, delayed, drained, pulled off course. Do you know what the enemy fears most? Not your mistakes, not your failures, not your bad days. The enemy fears your focus. The enemy fears the version of you that is aligned, that is walking in purpose, that is awake, that is connected to God. That version of you is terrifying to darkness. And so a counterfeit was sent. Something that looked like love, felt like love, spoke the language of love, but carried a different agenda. Not necessarily from a malicious conscious choice on their part. Sometimes people are used without even knowing they're being used. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are themselves broken, themselves lost, themselves running from a light they can't understand. But it doesn't change what happened to you. And it doesn't change what I'm saying right now. That connection was pulling you away from your assignment. And you can look back now, and if you're honest with yourself, you can see it. The dreams you stopped chasing. The ideas that sat untouched. The calling that went quiet. The version of yourself you used to be that slowly started fading into the background because you were spending everything you had on someone who could not receive it. And maybe right now you're saying, "But I loved them. But we had something real." But what about all those moments? I hear you. I do. And I'm not dismissing that. Real feelings were involved. Your feelings were real. Your investment was real. Your hope was real. But love alone cannot override divine design. And sometimes the most loving thing God can do for you is remove something from your life that you were too attached to let go of on your own. But let's go even deeper now. Because the relationship itself, it isn't really the core issue. Is it? There's something underneath this. Something older. Something that was there long before this person came along. A wound. A belief. A lie that got planted somewhere early in your life that sounds something like this. I have to earn love. Or maybe, if I just try hard enough they will stay. Or maybe, I'm not enough on my own. Where did that come from? Think about it. It didn't start with this relationship. It started somewhere earlier, maybe in your childhood, maybe with a parent who gave love conditionally, maybe with someone who made you feel like affection had to be performed for, earned through behavior, bought through silence and compliance. And you grew up learning that the way to keep people close was to make yourself useful. To be the one who gives. To be the one who holds everything together. To be the one who never asks for too much. To be the one who stays even when staying is destroying them. And then adulthood came, and you kept attracting situations that confirmed that belief. Not because you're broken, but because unhealed wounds have a way of creating patterns, of drawing in experiences that rhyme with old pain. Until someone, or something, breaks the cycle. God is breaking the cycle. Right now, with this ending, with this redirection, with this pain that feels like loss but is actually liberation. You couldn't see what was waiting for you on the other side while you were still standing in the middle of something that was holding you back. And so heaven moved. Uncomfortable? Yes. Painful? Absolutely. Necessary? Without question. I'm going to tell you something now that very few people in your life will ever say to you. Ready? You have been chosen for something significant. Not because you're perfect, not because you have it all figured out, not because you've never made mistakes, but because of something that lives inside you. A purpose that God embedded in you on the very day I told you about. The day you were born. The day that battle was fought for you. You didn't fight through all of that just to settle. You didn't survive everything you've survived just to spend your life pouring yourself into something that was draining your divine potential. There is a version of your life that exists on the other side of this pain. A version so different from where you are right now that if you could see it clearly you would stop crying about what you lost. You would start feeling something closer to gratitude. Not yet. That's okay. You don't have to be there yet. But I'm telling you because I want you to have something to hold on to. Something to keep walking toward. Even through the grief. Even through the confusion. Even through the nights when nothing makes sense. Walk. Keep walking. Because where you are right now is not where you're going. This is a corridor, not a destination. This pain is a doorway, not a prison. And the key to that door is trust. Let me explain something about how heaven works. Because I think you've been misunderstanding divine redirection. You've been thinking that if God approved of something it would always feel comfortable. It would always be smooth. It would always make immediate sense. But that's not how this works. Think about the moments in your life that changed you the most. The moments that shaped you the deepest. Were they the comfortable ones? Were they the easy chapters? Or were they the chapters where everything fell apart? The chapters where you were forced to rebuild? The chapters where you had no choice but to grow because the alternative was to crumble completely? God uses disruption. He uses endings. He uses the things that shatter our plans to redirect us towards something that our plans were keeping us from. And sometimes He allows something to break in our lives specifically because we would never willingly let it go. Because we had convinced ourselves it was what we needed. Because we had attached our identity to it. Because walking away from it felt like walking away from ourselves. But listen, you are not what you lost. You are not who you were with. You are not the relationship. You are not the rejection. You are not the breakup. You are not the betrayal. You are something God breathed life into. Something that existed before that relationship. Something that will continue long after this wound has healed. I want to speak now about protection. About what has been surrounding you that you cannot see. Since the moment this relationship began to fracture. Since the very first crack appeared. The protection over your life intensified. Not because you asked for it. Not because you were doing everything right. But because when heaven sees one of its own walking into danger, reinforcements are sent. There were moments in the past few months. Moments where something could have gone much worse. Moments where a decision you almost made would have cost you more than you know. Moments where the exit came just before the trap closed completely. Do you remember those moments? The near misses? The things that almost happened? The timing that felt slightly off but protected you without you realizing? That wasn't luck. That was divine intervention. That was me. That was the host of heaven moving on your behalf because your assignment is not finished and you cannot afford to be sidelined. I want you to really understand this. You are not wandering alone through an indifferent universe. There are forces of light surrounding you right now. Right now, as you watch this, as you breathe, as your heart continues to process everything that's happened. You are surrounded, you are covered, you are protected in ways you cannot fully perceive. And the pain you feel right now, as real as it is happening within a sphere of protection so complete that it literally cannot destroy you. Even when it feels like it might, it cannot, because heaven has declared that you will make it through this. Not might make it, will make it. Let me sit with you in the loneliness for a moment. Because I know that's what's heaviest right now. Not just the loss of the person, but the silence after. The emptiness that fills the spaces they used to occupy. The habits that haven't updated yet. Reaching for your phone to text them. Thinking of something funny and then remembering. Waking up and having 3 seconds of peace before it all comes rushing back. That loneliness is one of the most disorienting feelings a human being can experience. Because you don't just miss the person. You miss the rhythm. You miss the knowing. You miss being known. You miss the ordinary Tuesday moments that felt like nothing at the time but now feel like something you would give almost anything to have back. I know. I see you in it. And I'm not going to tell you to just get over it. I'm not going to minimize what you're sitting in. But I am going to tell you something important. That loneliness you're feeling? It's creating space. Painful, uncomfortable, necessary space. Space that is being filled right now with something invisible but real. With clarity. With healing. With the quiet reformation of your identity back into what God originally designed. When a person occupies that much space in your life, their presence can become like static over a signal. You can't always hear yourself clearly. You can't always hear God clearly. Because everything is filtered through the lens of that relationship. Through what they think. Through what they want. Through whether they approve. Through whether they're happy. In the silence now you can start to hear again. Your own voice. Your own desires. Your own dreams. The whisper of divine guidance that gets drowned out in the noise of anxious attachment. The loneliness isn't the end. It's the beginning of rediscovering who you are when no one else is defining you. Now I want to have the real conversation. The one most spiritual messages skip over. Because talking about love and loss is one thing. But talking about what was actually happening inside you during that relationship. That's where the real healing begins. There were things you did that you're not proud of. Small compromises. Moments where you knew something wasn't right but you stayed quiet. Moments where you saw the truth but chose the comfort of the lie. Moments where you made yourself emotionally available to someone who was not making themselves available to you. Moments where you accepted less than you deserved because you were afraid that saying you deserved more would cost you the relationship. I'm not here to condemn you for that. Not for a single moment. But I am here to name it. Because unnamed patterns repeat. And God is not bringing you through this painful ending just for you to step into the exact same situation with a different face. He's bringing you through this so that something changes. So that the next chapter looks different. Feels different. So that you go into the next season of your life with new eyes. New awareness. New boundaries that aren't built from bitterness but from wisdom. You deserve to be with someone who doesn't make you question your worth. You deserve a love that doesn't require you to shrink. You deserve connections where your peace increases in their presence, not decreases. You deserve to stop wondering if you're enough and to finally be somewhere that your enoughness is not in question. But that kind of love requires a version of you that knows their own value. And right now, in this season of rebuilding, God is working on that version. He's restoring something in you. Something that got buried, something that got dimmed, something that the wrong relationships talked you out of believing. Your worth, your voice, your holy God-given sense of self. I need to shift something right now. I need to speak with more urgency. Not to frighten you, but because there is a decision point coming. And I need you to be prepared for it. In the coming days, maybe even hours, you are going to be tempted to go back, to reach out, to reopen the door that heaven just closed. It might come as a text from them. It might come as a memory that surfaces at the exact wrong moment. It might come as loneliness so heavy that the familiar feels more appealing than the unknown. It might come as a small voice inside your own head saying, maybe I was too hasty. Maybe it wasn't really that bad. Maybe if I just gave it one more chance. I am speaking to you now so that when that moment comes, and it will come, you will remember this message. You will remember that heaven spoke to you. You will remember that what feels like comfort in that moment is actually a step backward on a path that was finally moving you forward. The enemy knows your attachment points. He knows what to send. He knows what timing softens you the most. He knows that 2 a.m. is different from 2 p.m. He knows that a sad song at the wrong moment can undo weeks of healing. And he will use these things. Not because you're weak, but because what's ahead of you is powerful. And anything that can delay you getting there is worth trying from his perspective. But here's what he doesn't know. He doesn't know that you heard this message today. He doesn't know that you've been warned. He doesn't know that something shifted in your spirit while you were listening. And that shift, that awareness, that is your armor. Let me talk about timing. Because I think this is something that's been confusing you. You've been asking, why now? Why did this happen at this specific moment in my life? Why not earlier? Why not later? Why when I was finally starting to feel settled? Divine timing is not random. It is not careless. It is not cruel. Every single moment of every single divine move in your life is calculated with a precision that your human mind cannot fully comprehend. And this relationship ending now, at this specific point in your journey, was not an accident. There is something coming, something that requires your full attention, something that requires your energy to be directed forward instead of backward. Something that requires you to be free, truly free, not physically occupied with someone but emotionally available, spiritually open, ready. And if that relationship had continued, you would not have been ready. You would have been present in body but somewhere else in spirit. Because that relationship had a ceiling. And that ceiling was lower than your calling. God refused to let your calling be capped by a connection that wasn't built to carry it. So he moved, he redirected, he created an ending so that a far greater beginning could take place. And the timing of it, the specific moment in your life when it happened, was not chosen to hurt you. It was chosen to position you for what's next. I want to speak about what's ahead, not in vague spiritual platitudes, but in the real language of your daily life. There is a version of your mornings that looks different from this. A version where you wake up and the first thing you feel isn't dread. Where the first thought in your mind isn't about them. Where your peace is not dependent on someone else's mood or presence or approval. Where you make your coffee and there's a quiet in the room that feels like rest instead of absence. That morning is coming, closer than you think. It's not years away. It's not some distant promised land that you'll only reach after endless suffering. It is on the other side of a season of healing that has already begun. Right now, in this moment, as these words reach you, healing has begun. And as that healing progresses, other things are going to shift. Doors are going to open. Opportunities that felt blocked are going to become clear. Creative energy that was dormant is going to resurface. Purpose that felt fuzzy is going to sharpen. People are going to enter your life. The right people. People sent by heaven not to complete you but to walk alongside you. To witness you. To be a companion to the fullness of who you are. Not a project. Not someone to fix. Not someone to perform for. But someone who meets you where you are and grows with you towards something real. And there will be a moment. I promise you there will be a moment. Where you look back at this exact season you're in right now and you will feel something unexpected. Gratitude. Not because the pain wasn't real. Not because the loss wasn't significant. But because you will be able to see clearly then what you cannot fully see right now. How necessary it was. How much it shaped you. How the person you became through this is exactly the person you needed to be for everything that came after. I want to return to something I said at the very beginning. About your mother. About the day you were born. About what she didn't tell you. She didn't tell you because she couldn't fully articulate it. But on the day you were born she felt something. A sense of weight around your arrival. A feeling that you were not ordinary. That you carried something. That the world somehow felt different on the day you entered it. She may have dismissed it later. Life has a way of making us dismiss things like that. But in that moment she felt it. And what she felt was the spiritual significance of your arrival. The recognition that what just entered the world was not just another person. Was a carrier of light. Was a bearer of purpose. Was someone whose life would touch lives they haven't even met yet. Was someone who would be tested repeatedly because what was given to them was significant enough to be worth attacking. Every hard chapter of your life. Every relationship that didn't work. Every betrayal. Every loss. Every night you cried without knowing exactly why. Every morning you forced yourself to keep going. Every time you almost gave up and didn't. They were all part of a refinement process. The making of someone capable of carrying what God placed in them on that very first day. You are not a mistake. You are not a casualty. You are not someone God has forgotten about. You are precisely in the process of becoming. And the fire you're walking through right now is not destroying you. It is removing everything that was never supposed to stay. Everything that was covering what was always there. The real you. The original you. The you that God designed before the world had a chance to tell you who you should be. Let me give you something practical now. Something you can actually do. Because spiritual messages without direction can leave you feeling inspired but directionless. And that's not why I've come. First, stop revisiting. I need you to hear that. Stop scrolling back through old messages. Stop looking at old photos trying to find the moment where it started going wrong. Stop replaying conversations looking for what you could have said differently. That chapter is closed, and every time you reopen it you delay the healing that's waiting to begin in you. Not because you're not allowed to grieve. Grief is sacred. Grief is honored. But there is a difference between grieving a loss and obsessively trying to rewrite a story that has already ended. Let it close. Let it close. Second, start talking to God again. Or start for the first time if it hasn't happened before. Not formal. Not rehearsed. Not religious performance. Just honest. Just real. Just you in whatever room you're in saying out loud or even just in your heart. I don't understand this. It hurts. I need help. That's enough. That opens the door. And I promise you on the other side of that door you will not find judgment. You will not find disappointment. You will find a Father who has been waiting. Who has been watching. Who has so much to say to you. Who has been sending message after message after message through your circumstances. Through your feelings. Through moments like this one. Hoping you would stop long enough to receive it. Third, protect your peace. Starting right now. In the days ahead things will try to pull you back into chaos. People who don't have your best interests at heart will reappear. Situations designed to destabilize you will surface. Emotions from your past will try to reclaim their old territory. And I need you to guard yourself. Not with hardness, not with walls, but with discernment, with the wisdom to recognize what is for you and what is not. With the strength to say no to things that compromise your healing. With the boldness to choose your peace even when it disappoints people who were benefiting from your chaos. You've been wearing a version of yourself that doesn't fully belong to you. I want you to know that. Layer by layer in the environment of that relationship, pieces of your authentic self were quietly put away. Small things. The way you used to laugh without editing yourself. The opinions you used to share freely. The dreams you used to talk about with excitement. The parts of your personality that made certain people uncomfortable, so you learned to dial them down. The passions you set aside because they weren't valued. The boundaries you had before you learned to abandon them. Those pieces of you are not lost. They didn't disappear. They went quiet. But they're still there, waiting, patient, waiting for you to create the kind of space where they feel safe to return. And that space is what this season is about. The creation of that space. The rebuilding of the real you. Not the you that performed for love. Not the you that shrunk for acceptance. Not the you that bent to keep peace. But the original, the one God designed, the one that has been there all along underneath the layers. Take that back, one piece at a time. Laugh the way you actually laugh. Say what you actually think. Chase what you actually care about. Take up the actual space you were given. Stop apologizing for the full weight of your presence. You were not designed to be small. I need to speak to a specific pattern that I've observed in you. And I need you to receive this in the spirit it's given. Which is love, protective love. You have a tendency, and this is not a criticism. This is an observation from someone who has watched your life. You have a tendency to take on the emotional weight of others. To feel responsible for how people feel. To manage the emotional environments around you. To keep the peace even when peace doesn't belong to you to keep. To absorb things that were never yours to carry. And this tendency, this beautiful but dangerous tendency, has made you a magnet for a certain kind of person. People who are looking for someone to carry what they refuse to carry themselves. People who are drawn to your light but threatened by it. People who can feel your strength and want access to it without being accountable to it. People who will take everything you freely give until there is nothing left to give and then wonder why you're depleted. Or worse, blame you for the depletion. You have to stop being responsible for people's healing that they are not willing to do themselves. You can love someone. You can pray for someone. You can wish someone well with every cell in your body. But you cannot carry someone across a bridge they refuse to walk. And you cannot bleed yourself dry trying to fill a person who refuses to be filled by anything except your constant sacrifice. That is not love. That is not your assignment. Your assignment is not to lose yourself in service to people who don't value what they're receiving. Your assignment is to walk in your calling. To carry your purpose. To love from fullness, not from the desperate need to be needed. And that requires you to stop. To step back. To let people carry their own weight. Even when it's hard to watch. Even when everything in you wants to rush in and fix it. I want to give you permission to feel this fully. Right now. Whatever is sitting in your chest right now. Whatever has been building up. Whatever you've been holding back. Let it come. You're in a safe space right now. Heaven is in this room with you. If you need to cry, cry. There is no weakness in that. Tears are not defeat. Tears are the body's way of releasing what the soul is processing. Let them come. If you're angry, that's okay too. Anger at feeling betrayed. Anger at feeling foolish. Anger at the time lost. Anger at the dreams that didn't come true. Anger at yourself for not leaving sooner. Anger at them. Anger at the situation. Let it be honest. Just don't let it become bitterness. Anger that moves is healthy. Anger that sits and curdles into bitterness. That's what damages your future. Feel the anger. Release the anger, but refuse to build a home in it. And if what you're feeling right now is something you can't even name, some gray, shapeless grief that doesn't have a clear face or reason, that's okay too. Not every wound comes with a clear label. Some of the deepest ones just ache. And they ache because they're real. And because they matter. And because you matter. And now I want you to hear something. This is the voice of the Father. Hear it, not as theology, not as religion, but as a parent speaking to a child they have been watching for a long time. I see you. I have always seen you. Even in the moments you thought you were invisible. Even in the moments you felt most forgotten. I was there. My eyes were on you. My heart was with you. My hand was under you. I know the questions you carry. Why did this happen? Why did I let this happen? Why didn't I protect you from the pain? And my answer to you is this. I was protecting you, even through the pain, especially through the pain. Because the things I needed to grow in you could not be grown in comfort. The strength I needed to build in you could not be built on easy ground. The wisdom I needed you to carry could only come through experience. And sometimes that experience is hard. Sometimes it costs something. But I never let it cost more than you could bear. Even when it felt that way. Even at your absolute limit. You were still within my protection. You are still within my protection. Now, in this moment, I am here, and I want you to know what I see when I look at you. I see someone who kept going. I see someone who bent but didn't break. I see someone who loved even when it hurt. I see someone who is still here. Still searching. Still reaching. Still open. That takes a kind of courage that heaven honors. You have not been forgotten. You have not been passed over. You have not been left behind. I am working in this. Even now. Trust me. And now I bring you to a moment of decision. Because divine messages are not just informational. They are invitational. And heaven is inviting you to choose something today. You can choose to stay in the grief. You can choose to let this pain write the next chapter of your story. You can choose to close yourself off. To decide that love isn't worth it. To decide that trust isn't worth it. To build walls so high that nothing can get in, including the good things that are coming. That is a choice available to you. But I tell you with complete clarity, it is not the one heaven is asking you to make. Or you can choose something else today. You can choose to trust the process even when it's painful. You can choose to believe that this ending is not the final word on your story. You can choose to let God rebuild what was broken. To let healing do its full work. To stay open even though being open has hurt you. To step forward into the unknown knowing that you are not stepping forward alone. That second choice is not the easy one. Not right now. Not when the grief is fresh. Not when the wound is still raw. But it is the right one. And I believe somewhere in your spirit right now you know that. You feel it, that small quiet knowing, that this isn't over, that there is something more, that this pain has a purpose, that the one who sees you has a plan. Choose to trust that, even imperfectly, even with doubt mixed in, even with questions still unanswered. Choose to trust it, and watch what happens next. Before I close, I want to speak a declaration over your life. And I want you to receive it. Not intellectually, but in your spirit. Let these words land. You are covered. Every step you take from this moment forward is covered. Every decision made in faith is backed by heaven. Every door you knock on in alignment with your purpose will open at the right time. Every person you need on this next leg of your journey is already being positioned. Every resource you need is already being directed toward you. Every night that feels too long will turn into morning. Every wound that feels too deep will heal. Not perfectly, not without a scar. But a scar is not a weakness. A scar is proof that you survived something. And you will survive this. The assignment on your life has not been canceled. The purpose you were born with has not expired. The calling that was written for you on the day you entered this world is still active, is still alive, is still waiting to be fully walked out. And nothing that has happened, nothing that has been lost, nothing that has ended, can cancel what God has declared over you. Nothing. As you move from this message into your day, or your night, wherever you are right now, I want to leave you with these things. In the morning before you check your phone, before you let the noise of the world in, give yourself 5 minutes of quiet. Just quiet. Let your spirit breathe. Let God speak. You might not hear words. You might just feel a small sense of peace. But that peace is a signal. It's a yes. It's confirmation that you are not alone. Start there. When the temptation comes to go backward, and I told you it will come, remember this phrase. Just remember it. Heaven moved this. Not me. Not failure. Not chance. Heaven moved this. Say it when the loneliness is loud. Say it when the memory surfaces. Say it when your hand is hovering over their contact. Heaven moved this. And let that be enough to hold you. Give yourself permission to heal slowly. There is no prize for getting over this quickly. There is no spiritual gold star for pretending you're fine. Healing takes the time it takes. And rushing it doesn't get you to the destination faster. It just means you arrive wounded. Go at the pace of truth. Go at the pace of genuine restoration. Even if that pace feels slow to everyone watching. I want to speak to the part of you that isn't sure you can do this. The part that's listening to everything I've said and nodding in agreement but also quietly thinking. But what if I'm not strong enough? What if I fall back into old patterns? What if the next thing hurts just as badly? What if I've been broken in ways that can't be fixed? I hear that part of you. And I'm speaking directly to it now. You are stronger than you have been given credit for. Stronger than you have given yourself credit for. The fact that you are here, watching this, still searching, still open, still asking questions, still trying to understand, is itself evidence of a strength that is profound. People who have been truly broken stop seeking. They shut down. They close off. They stop asking. But you are here. You are searching. And that search is itself a form of faith. That search is itself an act of courage. And heaven honors it. You will not fall back into old patterns permanently. You might stumble. You might have a bad week. You might make a choice you regret and have to course correct. But permanent return? No. Because something has shifted today. Something in your understanding. Something in your awareness. And once you truly see a thing, you cannot fully unsee it. You have seen today that this ending was not abandonment. It was redirection. You have seen that the pain was not punishment. It was positioning. You have seen that the loss was not the end of your story. It was the close of a chapter that was holding back the rest of the book. And now you write forward. With new eyes. With new understanding. With the protection of heaven at your back. I want you to take one more breath. A real one. Slow. Deep. Let your shoulders come down. Let your jaw unclench. Let your hands open. You came into this message carrying something heavy. And I genuinely hope, that as you reach this moment some of that weight is different. Maybe not gone entirely, but different, shifted, held differently. Because now you're not holding it alone. The road ahead of you is not empty. The future ahead of you is not dark. The love ahead of you is not what you've already known. It's better, deeper, more aligned with who you really are, more worthy of the person you are becoming. And on the day you arrived in this world, when that battle was fought for you, when your first breath was taken, it was never for a half-life. It was never for a love that made you question yourself. It was never for a story that ended in diminishment. It was for a life of purpose, of presence, of real soul-level love, of divine assignment walked out in full. That life is still yours. It has always been yours. Go claim it. Go heal. Go trust. Go forward, and know that every step you take toward that life you do not take alone. I am with you. The Father is with you. The angels are with you. And the version of your life that heaven always intended for you is not a dream. It is a destination, and you are closer to it today than you have ever been. Go in peace, go in protection, and know that you were seen today. Truly seen by heaven itself.